So again, good morning, everybody, and thank you all for coming. I'm Sergeant Frank Jang of IHIT. So this morning, I'm going to update you on the latest homicide here in Langley, BC. So last night on September 10, 2019, it's just after 8 p.m., the Langley RCMP received multiple reports of shots fired at a McDonald's restaurant in the area of the 264th Street and 56th Avenue, which is just off of Highway 1. Now, when frontline officers arrived, they found a man in his early 30s with gunshot wounds. Now, the victim sustained multiple injuries and he was pronounced dead at scene. I can also tell you that a short while later, just after 8:30 p.m., the Abbotsford Police Department received a report of a burning vehicle in the area of the 27900 block of Montesina Avenue. This vehicle appears to be a black SUV, and we believe it is directly linked to the earlier shooting at the McDonald's. We are appealing to anyone with information about the shooting or this burning vehicle, or if you have dashcam video, to please contact IHIT immediately. With respect to our victim, I can tell you that we have identified him, but at this moment our investigators are working to notify his family, who aren't, unfortunately, they are not local. So it's taking some time. So right now we are not releasing the identity of our victim out of courtesy to his family. That may change, and if it does, I certainly will update you. Right now, we're working closely with our partners here from the Langley RCMP as well as the Abbotsford Police Department. We have our forensic specialists from the Integrated Forensic Identification Services up at the scene with our crime scene manager. The scene is still taped off. We haven't released the scene, so we understand it's an inconvenience to some in the area, but please bear with us as we work to conduct a very fulsome examination. So we anticipate that it may be released sometime today. But with that said, we're not going to rush it. We're going to take our time. So I can take your questions if you have any at this time.
The victim isn't possibly the person you were looking for who was injured in the Fraser Heights shooting last week, is it?
The Fraser Heights shooting was not a...
You were looking for a victim that was hurt in a shooting.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that investigation. We are still looking into the history of our victim. Like I said, he is well known to police. He has ties to gang activity, and we believe that this was a targeted incident.
Can you also speak to the fact that it was 8 o'clock, it was a McDonald's,
Yes.
It could have been families and children there too, Frank?
In fact, there were many children and families, and that's what's concerning to us. 8 o'clock, shortly after kind of peak dinner time at a McDonald's, something that I think all of us can relate to, having dinner with our family at a McDonald's. And for this to happen, it is unacceptable. It shows the brazenness, the recklessness of these people. And we are going to do whatever we can, everything we can, to find them, arrest them, bring them to justice. So we need people in the community of Alder Grove and elsewhere who are perhaps just, transitioning through the area. Maybe they stop by to get a quick meal. If you have dashcam video, if you were there and you can speak to a possible suspect description, we need you to come forward. I can tell you that I've had the opportunity to review some of the video that we've collected. It's quite dramatic, and I'll stop there. And certainly, I would say it is a miracle by God's grace, whatever language you choose to use, that nobody else was hurt from this. It's very fortunate that nobody else was hurt.
Are you saying the restaurant was packed at the time, or it was pretty full, or how would you describe it?
There were quite a few patrons at the restaurant. There were people exiting the drive-thru. It was busy, certainly. And we're very lucky that those bullets didn't hit anyone else.
Did children witness this?
I'm not sure. There were quite a few people there. We've spoken with many witnesses, but from what we could see from the video footage, there were a lot more people there than we've spoken to so far. And we understand how this could have been very traumatizing. It was traumatizing, I'm sure. I can even say that it's traumatizing to me, and I've seen quite a few of these things, unfortunately. And so we understand that they may be going through some difficulty trying to comprehend what happened. And so we're asking them, well, first of all, to reach out to us to share their information, but also for their own well-being. We have victim services practitioners, not just here at the Langley RCMP, but also at IHIT, that are there to provide emotional support. Let's not lose sight of that. And so we want to make sure that those people are taken care of.
So the victim, was he at the counter? Where was he? His body was found outside.
No, this was
the
just
entrance.
this occurred just outside the restaurant. Yeah.
You said that the family is not important. So he's the victim resident or family member?
It's a little bit, yeah. We're still trying to determine that. I can tell you that our victim has connections throughout the Lower Mainland. The exact residency where he lived at the time of his death, we're not quite certain. But he is a resident of the Lower Mainland. He has contacts throughout. His family, immediate family, unfortunately, aren't here, so it's taking some time to notify them.
Was he
Yeah.
with anyone else?
We're still working to determine that. So that is a possibility that he was with someone. Yeah.
Sir, what would you say to the criminals here? I mean, we've now had 2 incidents in about a month and a half, I suppose,
Yeah.
of people assassinated at busy fast food restaurants. Seemingly, this is a new trend in this region.
I'm not sure if it's a trend, but certainly 1 or 2 is more than I'm sure we can tolerate, and that's 1 or 2 too many. And certainly this recent homicide, occurring in such a busy area with so many people around at 8 o'clock when really people are around, it just speaks to the brazenness of these people, the recklessness. And I'm sure these people, they don't give a damn about our safety, yours or mine. And that's concerning to us. So we're doing our absolute best to find these people and to bring them in. And we can't do it without the help of the community. Yeah.
And what would you say to community members who see these incidents and go, gee, nowhere is safe. I can't even go to McDonald's without fear of gunfire right here.
Yeah. We're telling them, don't stop your daily routine. If that is your routine to go to McDonald's, go to McDonald's. Our officers here take public safety very seriously, and speaking from experience, unfortunately, these things can happen anywhere. They're kind of like lightning, right? And unfortunately, this time it's happened to touch a very quiet area of Aldergrove.
What about suspects? Can you give us an idea about suspects? Did the RCMP have any line on the suspects at all?
We do. We have, I'm not going to get into any details at the moment, but we do have video footage. We have this burned vehicle, which could prove very key to us. It is in our custody. We are going to go through it very carefully. And even with the heat and the fire and the extensive damage, our forensic specialists can do some magic. They're very good at their jobs, and they can find the smallest, most minute forensic evidence. So we're hopeful that we will get something out of that. But again, this morning, it's very early, still in the investigation. And there's a number of witnesses, number of people that were there who we haven't spoken to. And so that's our priority this morning, is for them to reach out to us and for us to determine what they exactly saw.
Are you able to determine at this point by looking at the video or witness statements whether you're looking for one suspect or perhaps more?
I think right now we should be open to the fact that there could have been more than one, right? I'm not going to give specific numbers because I don't want to taint any possible witness statements.
And if he's belongs to the brother, he knows and
You're referring to the victim, actually. Yeah, I'm not going to get into any further details at this time, but if you stay tuned, that could change quite soon, in fact. So right now, I don't have any further information with respect to the victim. Okay, just stay tuned.
Was he
Yeah.
going into McDonald's or exiting, or are you able to tell us?
My understanding is he was outside, the McDonald's, just outside. Yes.
investigators seem to be focusing on a black pickup truck.
I'm not sure. Yeah, the vehicle that we're concentrating our efforts on right now is that black SUV. Um, Obviously, determining the make and model, the VIN, the plate, who the registered owner. Those are all going to be the subject of our investigation. But anything and everything's important. So, um, yeah, anybody with information, we're urging them to please come forward.
Frank, you talked about how you were even shocked when you saw the video of what happened. Was it the chaos that unfolded afterwards, after the shooting happened, or during the shooting? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. I mean, it's all those things. And the fact that these gunshots, I mean, I'm sure all of you have been up at the scene or will go up to the scene. There is extensive damage to the restaurant. There's glass blown out presumably by the rounds. So the fact that these rounds, I mean, bullets don't discriminate. Once they're discharged, they can go anywhere. They can ricochet. And I know I keep saying this, but the fact that it didn't strike a child, a mom, or a dad, we have to be incredibly thankful that nobody else was hurt. And if there's any positive to take away from this, I suppose it's that.
Can you talk about where some of the bullets ended up? I mean, there was obviously restaurant employees working at the time.
Yeah.
Did the bullets kind of make their way pretty far into the restaurant? Was anyone near?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I haven't been up to the scene, but from the reports and from speaking with our investigators, yeah, those rounds, obviously they struck our victim. They struck the pavement, they struck the windows. But we are going to be there all day to account for every single round that was discharged there. So we'll learn more later. But right now, I mean, just from kind of a cursory, view of the scene, anyone can just see that there was quite a bit of damage. Yeah.
I hate to harp on it, but I think it's important. I mean, you use the word traumatizing to you. You are a seasoned RCMP officer, and you found that traumatizing. I think that's pretty shocking when the rest of us hear that.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit more about that, Frank? I mean, if it's traumatizing to you,
Certainly.
what about the people that were in there and saw this?
Yeah, I mean, I try to choose my words carefully, but the word that comes to mind is that word. It was shocking as well. And like you said, Janet, if it's shocking to somebody like me or to my colleagues, I'm sure it's more so possibly to members of the general public. So trauma can affect all of us, and even if they weren't struck by bullets, they perhaps are suffering through something else mentally, emotionally right now. And if they don't have support, and I realize this is kind of aside from the homicide investigation, but this is important that we often overlook, is that members of the general public that are unfortunately witness to these things, they're affected, and just like the way we are affected as police officers. So, please don't suffer through this in silence, but reach out. Again, we have victim services workers here and at IHIT ready to help. Reach out to a friend, but we certainly don't want to overlook those people and what they're going through.